Okay, yeah, these playground songs. Can you give an example of a lyric what these kids sang?
Can't remember it in detail now, but there was this one song where they're like singing about sort of, I guess it was like different family members, you know. So they'd be like, my Uncle Joe, he died. How did he die? He died drunk. And it was all these sort of like, they started getting really spooky, you know, just kind of going through different people, like, my grandpa Rob, how did he die? You know, and it was just like, yeah, it was kind of quite freaky because they're all like laughing and smiling and clapping like that. I'll try and dig some out. There was like,
yeah, okay. But why did it feel so natural to do something with that in your own music?
Well, it feels natural to me because it's kind of when you get surreal lyrics like that, especially like old primitive things that have been passed down, stuff's changed and the meaning's warped, you know, and it's kind of almost like if you turned a tape recorder on and just started talking nonsense, which is something I do quite a bit. So I felt really associated with that, you know, because I really like making things up off the top of my head and leaving them that way. Yeah. And not feeling the need to explain where they came from. They came from somewhere, you know, I don't know. Sometimes they make sense 2 years later.
But it had those elements in it that were just sort of really, that you could tell it came from the same family as like early blues, you know. It's just basically a rhythm and sort of very kind of rhythmic vocals and, yeah, disturbing lyrics. And you could, it was like a crossroads.
That's the kills, isn't it?
Yeah, you could just see so much. You could see blues in it. It had this sort of nursery rhyme quality, so that the melodies were really strong. You know, you listen to it once and you just could join in with it. And
yeah, you remember it after.
There was other things, you know. There was moments where it just reminded you of like ESG or Salt and Pepper or something like that. It was just really, it's basically rhythm and vocals, and that's always been, you know, an element of what The Kills is about, the sort of stripped down simplicity of it.
Like that's the core of your music.
Yeah, because, you know, we're sort of experimenting with how much you can strip back music and still have a sort of, you know, sometimes I feel you need that sort of space and you need in music because in order to get a kind of attitude across and a vibe and a feeling across, that's the most important thing to me. All our records for me are like a different soundtrack for getting this, whatever happens in the space between me and Alison is the sort of vibe and the attitude, and I want to make a ton of like really different sounding records, but that are soundtracks for getting that across. It's kind of where punk came from in a way. It wasn't about crafting songs or anything. It was about feeling and an attitude that was much more important than a song. And the music, you can tell, like the bands that are considered to be punk bands, it's so diverse, the sort of music they were making, because it was basically the attitude that pulled all those things together. And that's what I hope we can do.